This is lesson 2.4, and we're going to look at operations with integers, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing here. So looking at number one, we're just going to do one step at a time, and of course we need to follow our rules here. We need to follow PEMDAS. So if you remember, P stands for parentheses, E stands for exponents, M is multiplication, D is division, A is addition, and S is subtraction. And it's important to keep in mind that multiplication and division are seen as equals. So, we say do whatever comes first, left to right, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. But multiplying and dividing are seen as equals, and adding and subtracting are seen as equals. So you do not do all multiplying, then all dividing. You do whichever comes first, going left to right. And you do not do all adding, then all subtracting. You do whichever comes first, going left to right. Okay? So one step at a time. So if we look at problem number one here, we see that we have subtraction. Now we do have parentheses, but there's nothing to do inside those parentheses. It just says -6. There's nothing to do inside of them. So we have no parentheses to worry about. We have subtraction and we have multiplication. So you have to ask yourself, all right, which one comes first? What do I do first? Do I multiply or do I subtract? Well, if you follow your PEMDAS rules, multiplying and dividing come before adding and subtracting. So we need to do the 4 times the -6. So we bring down the 20, we're not doing anything with the 20, bring down the subtraction sign, and then we do 4 times -6. 4 times 6 is 24. One of them is negative, so it's -24. So we end up with 20 minus -24. Now all we have is a subtraction problem, so we do that, and hopefully you remember from subtracting integers, we're going to change subtraction problems to addition. So we're going to do LCO, leave, change, opposite. So we leave 20 alone, we change subtraction to addition, and we make -24 +24. So our new problem is 20 plus 24. We're saying that subtracting 24 negatives is the same thing as adding 24 positives, which just makes it a much simpler problem to deal with. So 20 plus 24 is 44. And that's your answer. Okay, one step at a time. Number two, look at all the things that you have there. This is not a subtraction sign. That is a negative sign. That means -35. This is a subtraction sign. This, we have a division and we have addition. So you've got subtracting, dividing, and adding. And again, if we follow PEMDAS, it tells us we have to do the division first. So -35 minus, and then we do 490 divided by 7. 7 goes into 49 7 times with 0 left over. Bring down the 0 for the 490. 7 goes into 0 0 times. So we get 70. So -70 plus the 12. Bring the plus 12 down. Now you look at what you have again. You have a subtraction sign right here, and you have addition. So again, even though in PEMDAS it says A before the S, you do not do adding and then subtracting. You do it, they are equals. You do whichever comes first, left to right. And in fact, we are going to change that subtraction into an addition sign by using our rule of leave, change, opposite. So we're going to change subtraction, leave -35 alone, change subtraction to addition, and make 70 -70. So now it doesn't matter. Now we're going to take care of these two numbers. 35 plus 70 is 105, and they're both negative. So 35 negatives plus 70 negatives would give us 105 negatives. Bring down the plus 12. Now you have different signs. So when you have different signs, you find the difference of their absolute values. So you're actually going to subtract them, their absolute values. So I'll write it off to the side over here. You're going to do 105 minus 12. And when you do that, you're going to get 93. And the negative is farther from 0, so it should be negative 93. All right, so you should get negative 93 for your answer there. Scroll down here. We'll do number 3 now. Number 3, now we have parentheses. We've got 2 sets of parentheses. We have 16 plus 2 in these. There's nothing to do where the 3 is. And we've got negative 5 plus 3 in those parentheses. So we can go ahead and do both sets. They are completely separate of each other. So we can do 16 plus the 2 and get 18. And then that's in parentheses. The 3 is in parentheses. Minus 5. And then in parentheses, negative 5 plus 3. 5 negatives plus 3 positives. Remember, positives and negatives cancel each other out. You'll get negative 2. So now what you have is you've got you're multiplying 18 times 3, and then you're subtracting 5 times the negative 2. So you have 2 multiplication problems. 18 times 3 minus 5 times negative 2. I can remove those parentheses and rewrite that problem so that you can see the 2 multiplication and the subtraction. So if we follow PEMDAS, we should do the 2 multiplications first. So we will do 18 times the 3, and we'll get 54, minus the 5 times the negative 2 is negative 10. Now we have the subtraction problem left, and we do our leave, change, opposite, and we get 64. 54 positives plus 10 positives is 64 positives. There's your answer for number 3. So again, you want to show all your work, working down one step at a time. You're not going to have just an answer here. You need to show all of your work. When you're done, it almost looks like a slice of pizza. It's narrower at the bottom and it's wider across the top. So you've got your pizza shape. All right, last one, and we got a big one here, number 4. Again, we've got 2 sets of parentheses, so we'll take care of parentheses first. So we're not going to do anything with the negative 42 plus the 70. We're going to do nothing with that yet. Divided by, we are going to take care of these parentheses. Do leave, change, opposite. Subtraction becomes addition. 3 becomes negative 3. So 2 negatives plus 3 negatives would give you negative 5. Plus the 84 divided by 4 plus 2 will give us 6. And I'm leaving those in parentheses just so we know that that's what the answer was inside there. So now one step. Notice this is why I did not do anything with the negative 42 and the 70. It says adding, but this says divide. So we're going to have to do 70 divided by the negative 5 before we do anything as far as adding the 70. So we've got 2 addition signs, or 2 division signs and 2 addition signs. Adding, adding, dividing, dividing. So we have to take care of the 2 division signs first. So let's do that. So again, we're not doing anything with the negative 42. Negative 42 stays. We'll do 70 divided by the 5, and we'll get 14, and plus 14. Now 70 divided by the negative 5, there's 1 negative sign there, so our 14 needs to be negative 14, plus 84 divided by 6 is 14. Okay, so now we've got 2 addition problems left and we're done. 42 negatives plus 14 negatives will give us 56 negatives plus 14 positives. And again, to find out the difference, to add opposite signs, a negative and a positive, you subtract their absolute values and you'll get 42. So we know it's going to be the number 42. Then we say, okay, is it positive or negative 42? And it's negative because you have more negatives. You have 56 negatives and only 14 positives. So since you have more negatives, or as we'd say, the negative has the greater absolute value, your answer needs to be negative 42. Okay, here are your problems to try for homework. So do these 5 problems here, show all of your work, and bring those to class with you tomorrow.